Hello, everybody. Well, I thought I'd say some few words about tomorrow's big fight, which is between Josh Taylor and Jose Carlos Ramirez, of course. Yeah, this is actually a fight for it all, because the winner gets all four major belts: WBC, WBA, IBF, and WBO. So, Taylor is holding WBA and the IBF super lightweight or light welterweight titles, while Ramirez holds the other two, WBC and WBO. So, so let's make a comparison of the two. Ramirez has more fights as a pro. He's 26-0, while Taylor is 17-0. Yeah, Taylor has 13 KOs and a knockout percentage of 76.47. Ramirez has 17 KOs and a slightly lower knockout percentage of 65.38 on BoxRec. Both are said to be 5'10", but from the footage that I saw today, they were standing next to each other, or not next, but opposite to each other. It looked like Taylor may be a little taller, just a little bit, maybe an inch or half an inch, but of course that doesn't make much difference. Ramirez has a 2.5 inch reach advantage, actually, which is interesting. Maybe. Yeah. So when it comes to their age, Taylor is 30 and Ramirez is 28, so another advantage for Ramirez. Yeah, so Ramirez has basically, both have fought about equal number of world-class opponents, and Ramirez has victories over Victor Postol, Maurice Hooker, of course, the famous knockout victory, Jose Zepeda, Amir Imam, yeah. And, actually, Taylor has the better names on his resume. He beat Regis Prograis, of course, and Ivan Baranchik, Victor Postol also, Miguel Vasquez, O'Hara Davis, yeah. So in his last fight, he scored on the first round knockout against a guy who was previously unbeaten from Thailand, I believe. That was in September, yeah, Apinun Komsong. Yeah, so yeah, what else? Nothing really. The last fight of Ramirez was in August, and yeah, so there's not a big difference there in terms of activity. Yeah, so Taylor has now been a pro for 5 years, or 6 years actually, and Ramirez for 9. Wow. Yeah, of course, Mexican fighters, even though he's from California, but he's still a Mexican, usually start a little bit earlier than European fighters, In Europe, it's not unusual to start when you are 25, for instance, or something like that, 24. It's a little bit, unusual actually to start at when you are 20 or 19, It's, well, not too unusual, but less usual than USA or Mexico. Yeah, and their styles, well, Taylor is a guy who likes to, who digs to the body, and yeah, I guess he's simply a guy who is looking to outpunch you, outwork you, not always outbox you, but he's mainly an aggressive, uh, yeah, a puncher, a boxer puncher. And I guess the same can be said about Ramirez, even though I have not seen that much of him, but as much as of Taylor, but still, Ramirez seems to be a really uh, hardy, durable fighter who has power definitely, uh, but he doesn't always win. Doesn't win perhaps as often as Taylor on knockout. So yeah, yeah. You know what's really characteristical for Taylor? He's got a really tremendous heart, because when he was against Baranchik, for instance, he was behind after the first 5 rounds. Then he came back and put Baranchik down twice in the sixth round, and he just took over, pretty much, and won. So even though if he doesn't have to be ahead, to be, really in good spirits. He doesn't get disheartened, lose his composure like that, just like that. So that will be a good, well, a good quality to have against Ramirez, who is a bring it on type fighter, who likes to mix it up, of course. Yeah. Uh, I think actually, well, at least based on their records, Taylor might be a little bit more of a puncher. I mean, a pure puncher than Ramirez. Yeah. Even when Ramirez stopped Hooker, it was a barrage, of punches, a flurry that did it. It wasn't some kind of violent knockout, or it was against the rope. He was stopped on his feet, against the ropes, pretty much. So, I don't think Ramirez can really stop. I wouldn't really favor him anyway to stop to win. If he were to win, it will definitely be on points, I believe. Maybe, of course, it can happen that Taylor gets cut or something. Then, of course, it can be established. But a true, pure knockout, I don't think he can do that to Taylor. For one thing, Taylor is too good for that. For second, he's too tough for it. And third, I don't think Ramirez has that kind of power. He obviously is like Antonio Margarito more than someone like, I don't know, like Alexis Arguello or someone who can knock you out with one punch or a few. So if anyone, I think, would win by a true knockout, or I mean a stoppage here, that would be Taylor. But still, I don't know if Ramirez hasn't been force beaten or stopped yet. I don't know if he has been down even. He's a probably very tough customer. So this will be a true war, I believe, a true war of attrition, more or less. I I think we're about to see a really unforgettable fight. Yeah, I think it will be pretty much all action. Yeah, because both guys are really keen on winning, becoming the undisputed champion and proving themselves. I mean, Taylor already proved himself when he beat Prograis, but still, you know, some will say maybe he wasn't in his best, at his best that night, Prograis, and some stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, after that, there's pretty much nobody else to beat for them. I think at this weight, maybe now I heard Gervonta Davis has actually moved up to 140, so maybe yeah, whoever wins this fight will surely fight Davis unless they move up. So actually, my prediction is unless the judges should ruin everything again, which is a possibility always. I think Taylor will win because he's simply a better fighter altogether than Ramirez. Alright. Ramirez does have some really pretty good wins and that stoppage of Hooker, but I'm not really yet completely sold on him. He hasn't had that many high level fights yet. So if he should really win this fight and win impressively, then of course I will join his bandwagon. Even though I'm a fan of Taylor, I always will be. But I can be a fan of both guys, right? So I think Taylor wins some points, most likely. As I said, Ramirez is probably a very tough guy. I can see Taylor scoring a knockdown or two. Yeah. So that way it would be easier to get a decision in Vegas or wherever this is in USA. So I guess that was it for now. So long.